Hi guys, welcome to our next chapter, which is chapter number 9, circulatory system. The course series starts with I. You might be having a question, where is chapter number 8? The chapter number 8 is for future expansion. As of now, we don't have any guidelines. If we have any guidelines, I'll be sharing in the later part of our course. Let's learn the circulatory system. Let me start with first topic, which is hypertension. Hypertension is one of the important topic in this chapter. The complete circulatory system evolves with this hypertension. Let me give one quick and useful guideline and combination codes used in hypertension. Let's get started. If the documentation has hypertension, then we will be coding a code from series I, which is I10 is a code for hypertension. And if the documentation states hypertension as well as CKD, in this case we will be coding two codes, hypertension with CKD combination code. In addition, we will be coding CKD, whether it might be stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it might be. We will be assigning additional N series. For CKD, we will be assigning N18 series. For hypertension with CKD, we will be assigning I12 series. If the patient has hypertension and CKD, we will be coding this. And here you need to remember, no need to have a cause and relationship between hypertension as well as CKD. Without any linkage by the physician, we can take. Let me give an example. In HNP notes, in history, patient has hypertension, and in progress notes impression, they have given CKD stage 2. In this case, you will be assigning I12, which is hypertension with CKD, followed by N18 series, which is CKD stage 2. It's stage 2, so we will be assigning N18 series stage 2 N18.2. This is how we need to assign. No need to have a cause and effect relationship or combination or relationship between hypertension as well as CKD. Let me give another example for this. Patient had CKD in history, hypertension in history, and in current documentation, physician mentioned that CKD stage 4. The documentation is on progress notes. In discharge summary, the physician mentioned that stage 5. Here you might be having a question, do I need to go with only CKD or CKD stage 4 or stage 5? In this case, you can go with severity. The top stage you can go. Here the severity of stage is 5, you can go with CKD 5. Let's move on with next guideline. If a patient has hypertension and CHF, if this is how your documentation, then you need to code two codes. One code would be hypertension with heart failure, which is I11, and another code which relates to CHF, which will be I51 series. Let me give an example. The same patient, the previous patient has hypertension. Now in progress notes they have documented as CHF. Here we will be coding I51 series as well as I11 series. Fine. Next guideline, hypertension, CKD, CHF. How we need to code? In this scenario, we will be coding three codes. The first code would be hypertension with CKD with CHF. The code series would be around I13. In addition, we will be coding N18 series as well as I51 series. N18 is for CKD, I51 is for CHF. This is how you will be coding. Let me give an example. Same patient, history of hypertension, history of CKD. In current documentation, they have mentioned CHF. We have a combination code. We will be coding three codes, but hypertension we will be coding combination, hypertension with CKD with CHF. Let me give last guideline with related to hypertension, CKD and CHF. If the documentation is like that, hypertension, CKD. In this scenario, we don't have CKD, hypertension, CHF, and acute and chronic diastolic heart failure. In this scenario, how you need to code? In this scenario, you will be coding 3 codes. First code would be hypertension, second code would be CHF, third code would be specificity, acute and chronic systolic or diastolic heart failure. If you have a separate code, you can go with separate, or else you can go with 2 codes, which is hypertension as well as CHF, specified CHF. Here you cannot code CHF unspecified. Here you need to code acute and chronic, whether it's diastolic or systolic, you need to code that. This is how you need to code whenever you have any condition. Remember one thing, if only hypertension, we'll be coding single code. If hypertension with CKD, we'll be coding 2 codes. Hypertension with CHF, we'll be coding 2 codes. Hypertension, CKD and CHF, here we'll be coding 3 codes. This is how you need to remember. These are the 4 guidelines which we have in hypertension, right?